through the eyes of those who've been involved. In a moment as well, after we've heard for the next 5 minutes from this guest, I'd like to get your reflections on the morning, the kind of things you've taken away, the kind of warnings there are to NATO. So think of that in a moment, and I'll be joined again by Ines. But first of all, to Rastikacia, who was a very senior diplomat in the Slovakian Foreign Ministry, and at the age of 24 was in Bratislava when the Velvet Revolution took place. He was also the first permanent NATO representative for Slovakia. So he's going to tell his story for the next 5 minutes.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Nick, thank you very much for your very kind introduction. And this is very hard for 5 minutes to squeeze in my NATO story, because that's my life. It's a part of my life story. And to squeeze your life in 5 minutes, that's hard. If I should turn back the clock and look into what was it before '89, there are some pictures which comes to your mind. I'm a simple country boy coming out of the conservative Slovak Catholic country background, which would be a very typical Slovak profile. There are millions like me of that attachment to the simple ground things, the traditional values, to church. I used to play organ. My grandpa was singing in the choir. To me, the communism was something, you know, like a double life living, something which you come home with your values, and then your grandma tells you, please, but if you are eating in the school, don't cross yourself. Just think quietly to yourself, thank you, God, for that food which I can share with you and my friends. Something where you went for Mass every Sunday to a different village because people were taking number of plates and reporting those people who were not supposed to be at the Mass. So something like you have your own values, your own attachment, the old ways, the old path, but you cannot show it because the lack of decency and the restraint, which was so common and so unnatural, was completely curving whole life. And in '89, as I was freshly graduating at 24 in June out of my university, I was a very good student. My father approached me in the barbecue in the garden and told me, you know, look, my son, nobody was ever in a communist party. You know what is our take on this? Well, I want to tell you that, look at my life. I never could have gotten promotion. And your mom, you know, been always under pressure not to show who we are. We want to tell you that if you want to change and if you want to accept, you know, we just want to tell you that we are not going to mad about you. And I still have my eyes wet when I think of that moment. And I told him, Pa, you know, there's nothing for you to apologize and be ashamed for your life. I think you did an honest life, and it's fine what you achieved, and I'm not going to change your ways. And I told him, look, it's going to collapse like a house of cards, you will see soon. And he turned very sad and said, no, you don't understand. This has been for 40 years, 20 years under occupation and Soviet presence. This is not going to change. And here I go ahead, it's '89 November, and it collapsed like a house of cards. And I was in the military conscript, junior lieutenant, sitting like in a nightmare dream in the staff meeting, where some hawkish people said, oh, we should go on the street. We should show these young students who we are. We should take control. It should not happen, this counter-revolution. Well, I raised my hand and I said, are you all crazy? Who you want to crush? This is my brothers and sisters, my schoolmates. And I knew in that moment, if clock would not turn, probably I would be sitting in jail until today and wouldn't talk to you. But that changed. And again in '94, in my Opel Corsa, I was crossing the bar at the NATO headquarters, and a new chapter opened to us. And I have to tell you that nobody pushed us, as it was mentioned already here. This was a finally free choice for us of the friends and the allies you choose, not the brothers and allies who would come and rape you and then stay with you for 20 years and you cannot get rid of that. Nobody ever pushed us to choose the family where we belonged. And for us, today, the story is that for Slovaks and for many other Central Europeans, I'm sure for Poles as well, for all of us in the region, the story is We were never more sovereign. We were never more secure. We never felt more comfortable. We sit at the table. We are not on the menu. We are part of the family of values, and we are part of the commitment. We know where we belong and we want to be. Is there a future for that? For sure. World is becoming not less complicated and just more complicated. And the last thing I want to say here, for me, NATO was the best combination, best blend of values and interest, of love and reason combined. And if we are able to sustain and not to forget that what are the values we should stick and what are the interests we should defend together, NATO has got a lot of reason to go on. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your attention. -8 seconds, not bad in 5 minutes.
Rusty Kachar, thank you so much for sharing your story. We have another 10 minutes to wrap up this morning before we go upstairs and